knocked off the top spot without our first choice goalkeeper. Argyle are a little bit battered and bruised, but we are back at home park against Portsmouth this afternoon, so it's going to be special. Watching Argyle TV. Welcome to home park today. Now, it may have been a bit of a tough week for Argyle, but it is a sellout here at home park this afternoon, which, you know, is a fantastic occasion for everyone involved. And we're also playing Portsmouth today, so a bit of a dockyard derby for everyone. And they always seem to bring out the best in the side. Stephen Schumacher's men are a formidable side to play at home, and they're going to be taking on Portsmouth, who've improved since being under their new manager, John Massinio, took charge. Kickoff is now just under an hour away for all of you, and coming up between now and then we'll be focusing on skipper Joe Edwards, who feels the energy from the supporters can lift the side for this particular run-in. Stephen Schumacher is also going to be previewing today's game, talking about locking horns with another rookie manager, and of course we will be discussing the goalkeeping situation here at Argyle and how Callum Burton can fit the rather large boots of Michael Cooper from now until the end of the season. We will have all of the team news as well just ahead of kickoff, and that's coming up in just a moment. But before we go to that, let me introduce my counterpart this afternoon, none other than former Argyle ladies captain Katie Middleton. Katie, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
How are you doing this afternoon?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Big game this afternoon. Big games keep coming. Sold out home park, Dockyard Derby. What are you thinking this afternoon?
I mean, first and foremost, excited to be back here again at home park. I think, you know, it's a notoriously good stomping ground for us so far this season, and you know, we've got to see the reaction of the players from last week's defeat, but I think they've got it in them. You know, we're likely to see a wholehearted, full throttle game today, and hopefully one that Argyle come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming into this game from that loss to Sheffield Wednesday, but I feel like part of the kind of main conversations that have been happening since that, less really about the game itself and more of what happened to Michael Cooper, who, you know, we'll see in a moment is lacking from the team sheet.
Yeah, I think, you know, there were kind of everything went against Argyle last weekend, and it, you know, early goal conceded after 7 minutes. Dan Scarr gets injured, has to go off. Michael Cooper gets injured, has to go off. And you know, you mentioned it at the beginning. It's big boots for Callum Burton to fill. But he's here for a reason. Schumacher's come out during the week and said, you know, he's fully behind him. He knows exactly what he can do, what he can bring to the side. He's played in all the Papa John's trophies games this season, so I'm sure an able deputy, and he'll be, I'm sure, ready to go.
Yeah, and it was in terms of, you know, events and things happening, last week was a pretty big game. Hopefully this week's game will be big for different reasons. Maybe we won't have any more players injured. You know, no kind of proper battles on the pitch, but just a good all-round game for everyone to watch here at Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and, you know, these games between, you know, like you said, the Dockyard Derby, and they're always good games. They're always close games. I think if you look at the last 5 games between Argyle and Portsmouth, 4 of those last 5 have ended in 2-2 draws. So, you know, hopefully we don't get the same result today. We want 3 points. We want to win. But it's bound to be a close game. It's bound to be a battle. You know, Portsmouth aren't out of the playoff positions yet. They're fighting for that. Obviously, we're fighting at the top with Wednesday for that top spot still, an automatic promotion. So there's still loads to play for. And like you said, every game between now and the end of the season, 17 more. They're going to be 17 massive games. Yeah,
it's a lot of big games coming up. I guess a lot of pressure from Argyle's perspective, but, you know, like you've mentioned, where Portsmouth are in the table and where we are, there's certainly worse places to be, aren't there?
Definitely, and you'd rather be in our position than in Portsmouth's position for sure. So, you know, every game has pressure. That's the problem. When you get to this stage of a season and you set your own standards, that becomes what you're aiming for every week. And as the season goes on and maybe you pick up a few injuries and things along the way, sometimes it's difficult to maintain that throughout. There's always going to be blips in a season, and, you know, we had one here when we lost to Port Vale. You know, you expect it. It happens at some point.
Yeah.
You know, Sheffield Wednesday, another one last weekend, but previously when we've lost games, we've bounced back again really well the following week. So that's what these fans will want to see here again today.
Yeah. And generally speaking, apart from, you know, what you've just mentioned, the record that Argyle have at home has been really good this season, so it should be something that we can all look forward to going into the next hour. We'll take a look at the team news then and see exactly who is playing this afternoon for you, starting, of course, with Argyle. One big change, of course, Callum Burton goalkeeping today, and we've also got Macaulay Gillespie, James Wilson, Matt Butcher, Joe Edwards, Ryan Hardy, Michael Miller, Sam Cosgrove, Adam Randall, Nigel Lonvike and Callum Wright. And on the bench, Adam Parks, James Bolton, Danny Mayer, Barley Mumba, Finn Azaz, Ben Wayne and Jay Mattetti. Now, it's a different lineup. We've not seen a lineup like this in a league game, particularly because of Callum Burton. But what are you making of what Stephen Schumacher's put out today, Katie?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a side that he thinks will challenge, and lots of changes, and I think he probably just wants to freshen things up a little bit from last weekend. I think if you look at the lineups over the last few weeks, he's made changes and changed things depending on who we're playing against and what sort of game he thinks we might be in for. I think with Portsmouth, they've had a really settled back four. And I think the addition of Sam Cosgrove from the start probably gives us a little bit more presence to go and be able to play slightly longer into him. Potentially likely that Hardy will play off of him, so we'll maybe have 2 up front, with Callum Wright potentially just playing in behind. Yeah. So lots of attacking options. It's good to see Michael Miller back in from the start as well. He's a player he came in pre-season with loads of potential, but unfortunately has had injuries. So good to see him back again and in the starting lineup to see what he can do.
Yeah, and I mean as well, I think when you look at Argyle's team, you also realise just how much variety Stephen Schumacher has to choose from. You know, like I think Barley Mumba on the bench might have been a surprise to some, but then you've also got players that are in the starting 11 that also equally deserve to be there. So a lot of opportunities to bring players on. Yeah,
and players that aren't even making the squad at all. That's the nice thing, I guess, but also a hard thing for Schumacher to try and manage. But, you know, you've got good players who aren't in there. So, lots of options. It also gives us lots of options from the bench if things aren't going the way that we hope they might be. Yeah. You know, he can make changes, and he's shown throughout the season that he's able to do that.
Yeah, let's take a look at Portsmouth side then as well, see who we are up against this afternoon. Starting with their goalkeeper, Josh Oloyemi, Connor Ogilvie, Marlon Pack, Ryan Tunnicliffe, Colby Bishop, Owen Dale, Joe Morell, Sean Raggett, Michael Jacobs, Deshaun Bernard, Riley Towler, and on their bench this afternoon, Toby Stewart, Denver Hume, Joe Piggott, Rico Hackett, Dane Scarlett, Louis Thompson, and Paddy Lane. Katie, Portsmouth sides, what are you thinking this afternoon?
Yeah, so a fairly settled lineup for them over the last couple of weeks. They've had a couple of changes through suspensions and stuff, but generally speaking, it's been fairly settled since the new manager's come in. They got off to a flying start with a couple of wins under the new boss.
Yeah.
Lost one, drew at the weekend against Barnsley. So, they're a side who like to attack. I think they'll probably set up in a 4-3-3. Their striker is dangerous, scored lots of goals so far this season. And I think it'll be two sides who go all-out attack today to try and get a result.
Yeah. And so 2 out of 4 of the matches in charge have been won by their new manager, and there's still very much a chance for a playoff spot for them. Now, one player, we'll just mention him very quickly because we did think Matt Macy was going to return to Home Park, but not on the list at all this afternoon.
No, not in the squad at all. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for Argyle, because watching their game last week against Barnsley, he made some really good saves and kept them in the game for long periods. So, I'm sure the fans would have liked to seen him back here. He played maybe 35 games or something a few seasons ago for Argyle. So I'm sure the fans would have given him a warm welcome, but you don't want to see him keeping the ball out of the net. So hopefully that goes in our favour this afternoon.
Not to be today. I am keenly just looking over my shoulder, and Katie is aware as well. Pilgrim Pete is lurking behind us, which is always sometimes a foreboding presence on Argyle TV, because you never quite know what he's going to do. We'll carry on until he makes another appearance, which I'm sure he will. Number 9 for Portsmouth as well, Colby Bishop, 16 goals in all competitions this season. Do you think he's going to be one that Argyle's defence are going to need to kind of work around?
Yeah, definitely. He's a dangerous player. He looks lively on the ball. Scored last weekend in that win against Barnsley. Really tidy finish, a volley from a deep cross. So, he's certainly somebody who Argyle are going to have to keep close tabs on. And if we want to get something out of the game today, we probably need to keep him quiet for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, every game is, in football, of course, is a big game. It's a bit of a cliche to say, but we do know it's true. And between now and May, there will be so much attention on every point that Argyle win or don't win. For the manager, Stephen Schumacher, that's all noise, because he is very much fully focused on trying to get the best out of the players.
Every game from now, no matter who we play, is going to be a big game. So, yeah, we're used to it. I think no matter who we play, up and down the country, whatever they are in the league, there's a lot riding on it. There's a lot at stake when you're at the top end of the division. If you slip up, there's teams who are all behind you, who are always in good form, that ready to capitalise. So, from that point of view, every game's huge. It's almost like we've got 19 cup finals or whatever we've got left.
Having said that, when you do have a game like Portsmouth, where there's been history of big games between the two clubs and Sheffield Wednesday, two teams at the top of the table, does it make it easier in a way to sharpen the focus on the game? If you kind of know what I mean, you don't have to do a big rouse and build up.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Especially from a fan's point of view, maybe, because it's a huge club in Portsmouth. They're going to sell their away allocation. The fans have came in the numbers the last few times we played them here, and we took a load to Fratton Park, remember, this season. So from that point of view, yeah, it doesn't need a lot of drumming up. The game sells itself. And for the players, it probably doesn't need a lot of drumming up either, but no game does now, because they all understand what's at stake. So it's pretty easy for us. We can just carry on with the planning. We go through the detail on every team, no matter who we play. We don't over-analyse one team because they're Portsmouth or the Sheffield Wednesday and under-analyse somebody else. So, no, we plan as consistently as we possibly can, and then hopefully we get consistent performances as well.
On Portsmouth, also, they've had a change of manager. They've had a slight upturn in form as well since John Massinio's been in. I know you know him quite well. How do you kind of see them as a side at the moment?
getting to know the new manager. They've had an immediate bounce for his first 2 games to beat Exeter and Fleetwood. Had a tough game against Peterborough where they were on the wrong end of the result, and then had a good performance against Barnsley. So, yeah, a little bit good start for Moose. I would say he's been quite happy with the performances from his team, and I'm sure he'll be looking forward and excited to come here because he'll know what's at stake. He'll know it'll be a full house, and he'll be ready to get one over on me, I'm sure. But I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's, as I say, we've done our pro licence together. We've kept in contact. I wished him well when he was first appointed. He said, if there's anything I can help you with, let me know. He still hasn't let me know yet, but I'll only speak to him next week after the game. But he's a good lad, and I do wish him well because he's another young coach who's going to hopefully go on to good things in his career.
Stephen Schumacher talking there. Now, Katie, you mentioned it already, 17 matches, quite a long way to go still, but every game does very much feel like there's still a lot riding on it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we're really deep into the season, doesn't it? But yeah, there's still so far to go. So, yeah, the pressure's massive, isn't it, on every game? And it only takes, you know, we've seen how close things are at the top of the league. It takes 1 or 2 defeats and you're pulled back into the playoff places again. So trying to obviously build and get that momentum again as quickly as we can is going to be really key going into those last 17 games.
Yeah. Do you think Stephen Schumacher is maybe perhaps playing down, like, you know, the ants that maybe everybody feels around us? Because, you know, talking there about focusing on the players and how they're doing rather than, you know, looking at the points from matches, which is maybe what we're looking at a little bit more.
I think it's really hard from a fan's perspective. Everyone's always going to look at the table and see where we are, and obviously the ultimate aim for everybody is that we get promoted this season. So the table is always going to be at the forefront of everyone's mind as to where we are, where we're sitting, how many points away are we, you know, where's the danger coming from. But it's important for Schumacher, it's important for the players to, football's a game of cliches, isn't it? But to just concentrate on every game as it comes, because the more they're doing that, it's just a game with 3 points. That's the maximum they can win at any moment. Yeah. So can we go out, get 3 points, and then we move on to the next game?
Yeah, because I think it's quite easy when you look at the stats and the statistics and the figures of all the games that we play, and you break it down, you know, away games, home games, you know, like right now, we're bouncing back after a defeat last week. But we could also say that we haven't lost any back-to-back games this season, which then adds another element of pressure, which, you know, is not remotely helpful, is it, from a management perspective?
No, but you want to be in these positions and you want to be up there. And if every game counts, it means you're playing for something. As long as you're not at the wrong end of the table, then that means we're, you know, playing for points that are going to hopefully keep us in the hunt for automatic promotion. So, you know, everybody wants a performance today. Everybody wants us to bounce back and give a decent performance today. I don't care if we win 1-0 with a 91st minute winner today. You know, we just need 3 points to settle things again, and then push on into the last stage of the season. Yeah,
I think, you know, if anywhere to do that, Home Park is the place. Having had a look at how Argyle have been performing this season, they are more attacking at home, aren't they? Why do you think that is? Do you think it's just having the amount of fans, the lack of travelling as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously being in Plymouth, every away game is a long way away. Then you look at the ground behind us and the fans that get behind us here. You know, don't get me wrong, the away following's brilliant and probably one of the best in the country. But you know, having 15,000 Argyle fans cheering you on here is going to make a difference. I think the other difference being that, again, in terms of football cliche-wise, if you can win all your games at home and you can pick up points away, it'll give you a chance. So this is where you need to pick up the majority of your points. Hence the reason why I think we see slightly different setups, slightly different intentions in a game when we play at home. Yeah,
let's just remind ourselves of the attacking lineup. So starting this afternoon, we've got Ryan Hardy, Sam Cosgrove, as you mentioned as well. You know, like what kind of attacking situation do you think we're going to be seeing from Argyle today? Because that is how they go out at home.
Yeah, so I think today it's going to be really important, like we said before, if Portsmouth are going to play in a 4-3-3, that we utilise our wing-backs as much as we can to get high up the pitch, be nice and positive. When you've got someone like Cosgrove who plays up front, who's obviously bigger, he'll give you more of a presence, trying to get the ball to him early and allowing the likes of Hardy, to run off him and create chances. We know that that's what Hardy will do, and I think having both of them playing together allows Hardy to do the running in behind, allows Cosgrove to come to feet and get the ball, and then hopefully we can build through the thirds as much as we can, and just look to be really positive today and try and get lots of shots away, test to keep it nice and early, and hopefully get on top early in the game.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say I think that's what everyone would like to see. A nice start to our weekend, a nice Saturday afternoon. Now, one of the things that we have to mention, as I'm sure we all know, the news about Mike Cooper. He is out for the rest of the season after rupturing his ACL in the defeat to Sheffield Wednesday last week. Now, it goes without saying, he'll be a huge loss, and we'll have a look at that in a minute. But just very quickly, in your eye, Katie, how big of a loss do you think Michael Cooper is?
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's absolutely massive. You know, he's probably a keeper who will maybe win you 5 or 6 games throughout a season. On a positive side, he might have already won us 5 or 6 games this season. So, you know, I do think he's a massive loss. He's a really important player for us. He's probably one of our most important players. And to not have him for the rest of the season is definitely a big loss for us. But like we said, it gives an opportunity now for Callum Burton to come in, prove what he's all about. His first taste, I think, of league action in front of a full home park here. So I'm sure he'll be absolutely buzzing and ready to go. But yeah, definitely a big loss for Argyle for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the second most saves in the league and saved us 6 goals across the season, you know, regularly coming up with match-winning saves. He is arguably, you know, one of, Argyle's best player, really.
Yeah, and I think probably the best keeper in this league as well. You know, we're very lucky to have had him playing for us for however many games he's played this season so far, and he makes massive saves, he makes game-changing saves, and he has done all season. So, yeah, obviously frustrating, but, you know, it can't be helped now. There's nothing we can do about it. So it's a case of knuckling down, moving on, and I'm sure the players will have obviously trained this week with Callum in goal and be used to what he brings to the side. So, like I said, really good opportunity for Callum to now show what he's made of, and hopefully keep a clean sheet today on his home debut.
His home league debut will be absolutely fantastic. We look forward to seeing Callum Burton stepping up. And also, you can let us know what you are making of the goalkeeping situation, the lineup today, just how Argyle are doing as a whole. And of course, we also like to hear from you and find out where in the world you are watching from. We like to see our furthest afield pilgrim. So make sure you get in touch on all of our social media channels. Best one is, of course, Twitter, because as I have said before, that is the only one they actually give me access to. But yeah, send us a message and me and Katie will be sure to read some of them out. We've actually got a very special one that Katie is very excited about that we'll share with you later on in the match. Now, you are watching Argyle TV with me, Erin Black, and Katie Middleton. Coming up after this, we will be hearing from the skipper, Joe Edwards, so do not go anywhere.
Ball in, a good goal, Borja. Progress into the second division.
Welcome back. Now, during high pressure situations, the role of the captain is often highly important, and Joe has been the club captain here at Argyle for the last 2 seasons, and he knows exactly what he has to do.
What is your role as the captain then in well, I suppose like the whole season, but definitely moments like this where it is getting towards the real crux, you know, every point is scrutinised, every missed point is scrutinised. How do you get yourself across?
I think just try and keep consistent as I have been all year. We know it's coming towards the business end of the season, but listen, that's what you want to be a part of. You'd rather be that than to be mid-table. So it's about keeping the boys calm and just preparing right as we always do. And I said it's just another game. Each game just another 3 points. Nothing more, nothing less. So if you look at it like that, and like I said, keep a level head and just concentrate on the job in hand and performing to the best that you can. Like I said, hopefully that can lay us in good stead going towards the end of the season.
Does it sometimes make it easier that they are such big games now as well, that you don't need a lot of geeing up to kind of get going?
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's, I'd say definitely at the moment there's no big speech needed for games, going into games. Like I said, we know how big they are and we know what's at stake. And like I said, boys are thriving on it. They have done all year. I said we didn't get the result we wanted Saturday, but we're still on a good run. We've played some tough teams and we've come out doing really well. So yeah, we've got another couple of tough games coming up, but like I said, it's a chance to get more points on the table, which we want. And like I said, just enjoy it. I mean, we're in a great position, doing really well, and to keep it going.
A word on this weekend then, Portsmouth. They're always really tight games between us, have been the last couple of years. What are your thoughts heading into it?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They've had a little turnaround in form with the new manager coming in, so that always gives them an added lift. And like I said, they're competitive games. They mean a lot to a lot of people, and we understand that. So for us, like I said, they're coming to our place where we're very good at home with a fantastic record, and we're really confident in our ability at home. So yeah, I'm really excited for it, really looking forward to it, and hopefully we get the result we want.
Welcome back. You are watching Argyle TV this afternoon as we build up to the game, which is going to be Argyle against Portsmouth this afternoon. Now, we asked you to get in touch with some social comments. I'm pleased to say a few have come in already. We're going to start with one from John Holwill, who says, match day, come on the boys, Argyle, let's do this today. On Argyle TV, early doors in St. Lucia, the Caribbean, and John has sent a lovely picture of himself smiling next to what looks like some kind of waterfront villa, which has made me extremely jealous. I've also got a shout out from Derek, who is watching in New Zealand this afternoon, although I think in Derek's time it will be the middle of the night, so very much thank you for persevering with that, Derek. I've got another one here. I haven't given them a shout out in a while, actually. It's Ricky the Raccoon. After a nightmare journey, Ricky the Raccoon has arrived in Home Park for Argyle against Portsmouth. There is a nice little photo of him propped up against a pint of beer. And the one that I need to mention about that I mentioned earlier is the one that's to do with Katie Middleton, who's conveniently stepped out of frame because she doesn't want me to mention this. So we're going to look at it later on, and that is a shout out for Tatsumaki Bones, our favourite Japanese Argyle supporter. Not only did he make a t-shirt with my face on the other week, which I'm immensely proud of, but I'm pleased to say that Katie Middleton has made it onto the mask wall of fame. There is now a Katie Middleton mask. We will be showing that to you at halftime. She cannot escape it. Thank you so much for tweeting us and letting us know that that's all going on. Okay, back to more serious business now then. In this week just gone, Argyle announced that our new front of shirt sponsor for the 2023-24 season is Bond Timber. Now, Bond Timber will return to be our principal partner for the first time since 2014. We grow ever closer to kick-off this afternoon, but before we get there, we've got plenty more to show you, including some of our build-up, where we're going to hear from Portsmouth manager John Messinho next.
Can you pledge 35 hours for Project 35?
Pledge 35 hours for Project 35.
Pledge 35 hours for Project 35.
You are watching Argyle TV. Your time check presently, we are 30 minutes away from Argyle against Portsmouth. Kick-off at 3 p.m. this afternoon here. Pompey are under new management with former Stevenage and Oxford defender John Musinho taking over from Danny Cowley. It is his first job in management, and of the 4 games that he has been managing so far, 2 of them he has won, and he's actually taken to it pretty well. Here he is.
Well, John, we spoke about it briefly after the game on Saturday, but where are the group in terms of where you'd like them to be at the moment?
Yeah, we're getting there. It's still at the very early stages of obviously myself being in the building and the players getting to know me and vice versa. So, yeah, we're not getting too carried away. There's a huge amount of work to do, but I think everything that I've asked and the coaching staff have asked of the boys to take on over the past 3 weeks, they've done really well. And hopefully we're seeing that reflected in games at the moment.
You've had valuable minutes on the training pitch with the team. How important has that been for you?
Yeah, really important. Another week where we've actually had a full week to get the players out on the grass. We did a recovery session on Monday after the game Saturday because they put a huge amount into that. And then Tuesday, Thursday have been great times to actually get some ideas into them and work on a few bits that we previously hadn't had a chance to work on. The 3 weeks are really valuable. There's always in the back of our minds we've got to think about the physical levels that the players are hitting and always look after that, considering we've got a really busy week next week, not just with the 3 games but the fact 2 of them are away and we've got travel on top of that, so we've always got that in the back of our mind. But yeah, the 3 weeks are a really good opportunity to work on quite a few of the things that we're looking to put into the lads.
Ronan Curtis, Clark Robertson and Jay Mingy have been back on the grass this week. How are they progressing?
Yeah, progressing really well, all 3 of them on different pathways, but back out on the grass and doing a lot of running and I think doing a bit of ball work, which is really positive. I think out of the 3 of them, Ronan is the closest to be back. Hopefully we'll see him back in training at some point next week, and then with Jay and Clark, we are a matter of weeks rather than months at this stage, which is really positive.
That's a trip to Home Park up next, a difficult tie against Plymouth. What are you expecting from it? How much are you looking forward to it?
Really looking forward to it. I'm told that it's been a bit of a tasty encounter over the past few years and we're expecting close to a sellout, which will be amazing. I think the atmosphere that you can get there, not just from the home fans but from the away fans as well at Home Park is brilliant. If we can sort of pack that away end, it's going to be amazing. And we know that Plymouth are a really good side. They've been at the top of the league for the vast majority of the season. I think they only fell off top spot last week, losing away to Sheffield Wednesday, where they were probably slightly unlucky. So we know they're a really good side there. They're very well drilled. I think Stephen's taken over from Ryan and it's a pretty seamless transition. They were unlucky just to miss out at the back end of last year. And they've kicked on again this year, where I think maybe a lot of people might have thought they were going to drop off, but they certainly haven't. They've done completely the opposite, and they've I think for me been the standout side in the league this year.
Welcome back. Katie joins me once again. The real Katie, not the masked version of Katie, which I know that we're all very much looking forward to. Let's have a quick reminder of the teams then for this afternoon. We will start once more, of course, with Argyle's starting 11. They are Callum Burton, Macaulay Gillespie, James Wilson, Matt Butcher, Joe Edwards, Ryan Hardy, Mikael Miller, Sam Cosgrove, Adam Randall, Nigel Lonvike and Callum Wright. And on our subs bench this afternoon, Adam Parks, James Bolton, Danny Mayer, Barley Mumba, Finn Azaz, Ben Wayne and Jay Mattetti. Now, we asked before for some of your social media shout-outs. One of the kind of common themes that we didn't address just then is a lot of fans online intrigued by the choice to put Mumba and Mattetti on the bench this afternoon. What are your thoughts on that, Katie?
I think it's just a case of freshening things up and mixing things up. We've got a lot of good players. We've spoken about the depth in the squad these days, and the fact that you can leave players like Barley Mumba and Jay Mattetti on the bench is definitely a positive thing for Argyle. Like we said, they're players who can potentially come on and change the game later on if required. People will probably look and say Adam Randall's been unfortunate to miss out on starting recently. it's another chance for him to get back into the starting 11 and show what he's capable of doing. You know, Randall's been great for us this season, and again, probably up there with one of our most consistent performers. So, you know, throw him back in there. Obviously, Matt Butcher comes back in. He's probably one who's been out of the squad a little bit more recently, but again, gives us some legs in midfield to get around. And you know, Barley Mumba, everyone knows what he can do this season. Yeah. As we've all seen it, we've seen goals, we've seen last-minute goals, but it gives other players options. And we spoke about Mikael Miller before. He'll probably do the same role as Mumba on that left-hand side. So, yeah, I think fresh legs, mixing it up a little bit, keep everyone else guessing where we're going to play, what the tactics are going to be. So, hopefully, a starting 11 plus some appearances off the bench that get us 3 points.
Yeah, and of course Michael Cooper will be you know, very much missed in the team, but I feel like the atmosphere around Home Park today, and you know, online as well, everyone seems very much looking forward to welcoming and supporting Callum Burton for his, you know, big league debut.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, as much as Michael Cooper's been a big part of the side, you know, one player doesn't make a team, and Michael Cooper's made saves. He's not the sole reason why we're at the top of the league. You know, Callum Burton will want his back three, back five in front of him to be solid today. Hopefully he doesn't have much to do. You know, he'll be over the moon if he has absolutely nothing to do for the whole of the 90 plus minutes that he plays today. So yeah, it's about the 10 players in front of him stepping up and protecting him as much as they can as well today.
Yeah. I mean, you've always got to be ready, haven't you, for the call-up to come? And today is the day for Callum. Let's have a look at Portsmouth team as well. Their starting lineup this afternoon consists of Josh Aloiemi, Connor Ogilvie, Marlon Pack, Ryan Tunnicliffe, Colby Bishop, Owen Dale, Joe Morell, Sean Raggett, Michael Jacobs, Deshaun Bernard, Riley Towler, and on their bench, Toby Stewart, Denver Hume, Joe Piggott, Rico Hackett, Dane Scarlett, Louis Thompson and Paddy Lane. And we touched earlier how Colby Bishop, probably the main one to watch for Portsmouth this afternoon, Katie?
Yeah, definitely. He scored the majority of their goals. He's got 16 in all this season. I think if you look at the next top scorer in the league, they've maybe got 4. So, yeah, definitely a big threat today. And that's where, like we've just spoken about, the defensive unit of Argyle in front of Callum Burton is going to be really important to try and keep him quiet. They're a decent side, you know, they're playing with a little bit more freedom since the new manager's come in. So hopefully they'll have an off day today. We can keep Bishop quiet, create no chances, and yeah, send this crowd home happy at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now we know, you know, today is an important game, Katie. And I was going to ask you, you know, how important is today's game? But there's also questions around what is it about today's game that's actually important? Because, you know, we could be looking at it in the grand sweeping 17 game plan, or is it more of a winning at home, or is it, you know, bouncing back after what happened last week?
I think it's a combination of all of those things. The closer you get towards the end of the season, the more important points become. You know, at the start of the season, it's, well, if you drop a couple of points, it's not the end of the world. You've got loads of games to catch up. But obviously, the less games you get towards the end of the season, that becomes more difficult. So, obviously, the result from last weekend plays on everyone's mind. You want to get back to winning ways as quickly as you can. This season, we haven't tasted defeat very often, and it's something that we don't like. So hopefully we don't do that again today. But yeah, it's a case of, like you said, bouncing back, getting 3 points on the board, and giving this crowd something to cheer about today.
What type of performance are you expecting from Argyle today then, having looked at the side that Schumacher has put together and who he's up against?
Yeah, I think attacking as much as we possibly can. You know, the last couple of big games have been away from home. When you look at the Ipswich game, when you look at the Sheffield Wednesday game, and those are games where probably you go a little bit more defensive, you try and shut up shop a little bit. But here today, it's going to be very much a case of let's go out, attack as much as we possibly can. And like we said earlier, look to try and get ahead in the game as early as we possibly can.
I mean, it's always close as well with Portsmouth. Do you think that's going to add an extra dynamic to it as well? Sold out. I mean, they've brought a lot of fans today too.
Yeah. You know, we talk about our away support, and I think Portsmouth are another side who the fans are great on the road as well. So the Dockyard derby, they're only up the road, so to speak. So yeah, they're making lots of noise here behind us, and hopefully these guys, plus obviously a full home end, will make for a cracking atmosphere this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, they are, I don't know if you can perhaps pick it up on our microphones, but they are starting to pick up the noise, pick up the atmosphere this afternoon. I don't think there'll be any match for Home Park behind us. But, it is quite nice when opposition bring like a nice chunk of supporters, because it does build the atmosphere a little bit, doesn't
definitely. And, that's what we all want, isn't it? It's a really good atmosphere in here. And when the stadium's bouncing, the players can feed off that. And hopefully it gives them that extra little drive on the pitch to go and put in a decent performance that wins the game. So, yeah, looking forward to it, and should be a cracking atmosphere.
Absolutely. It is a big day here at Home Park. Before we hand over to our commentary team, let's just have a quick look at some of the other games that are being played around the league today. Ipswich versus Sheffield Wednesday is going to be a huge game that we need to keep a look at. Derby go fourth, or they're currently in fourth. They're going to Wickham. And Tuesday's opponents, Oxford, are against MK Don. So just one to watch, but we will be bringing you updates from all the games around the league as and when we get them at half-time and full-time this afternoon. That's pretty much it from us here before we hand over the commentary team. Katie, thank you very much for being with us this afternoon. Dare I ask you for a prediction today? Are you willing to?
I am going to go 2-1 to Argyle. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be an edgy game, but I think we'll just edge it and hopefully come out 2-1 winners.
You said earlier you were hoping for an Argyle goal straight out of the bat. Do you think that is slightly, are you factoring that into your 2-1, or are you maybe being a little bit more reserved now?
I don't care. They can score whenever, as long as they win the game. That's all that matters today. So it would be great. Again, early goal just gets the fans going again, doesn't it? So if we can get on top nice and early, consolidate that, and I think it'll be a close game, but hopefully, one that we sneak at the end.
Yes, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Watch this space. Right, you can follow, of course, all the action here on Argyle TV, and if you are watching overseas, then you can stream the game for £10. I imagine some of you are doing so already from the sunny climes of New Zealand and St Lucia. £10, and if you live in the UK, then commentary is available for purchase for just £2.50. You want to head over to pafc.co.uk for all the details on how to buy your pass. Charlie Price and Connor Grant are your commentators for this afternoon's game. They are on standby, they are ready to go. The crowd's gearing up for what should be a very good game this afternoon, so let's hand over to them to guide you through the first 45 minutes of what should be a very good game of football.
on the edge of the area, gets it onto his left foot. Mumba! Good afternoon, welcome to Home Park for another, and it feels like it's every single time we take to the field, another huge game of football for Plymouth Argyle. Portsmouth, a rejuvenated Portsmouth, the visitors to the Theatre of Greens today. Argyle, of course, looking to make amends from last weekend's defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, which saw them knocked off top spot for the first time since the beginning.